gentlemen, we're back again with another episode. Today we've got somebody also going to talk about animals, which we love, especially dogs, cats, stuff like that, our pets. Jay runs a I don't know what you call it, a sanctuary or a kind of a
animal rescue
called 11th Hour, and they basically take in pets that are on the chopping block of some of these heartless kill shelters and giving them an extra little bit of time, buying them a little time before society maybe or maybe not, decides that they're no good. This is a sad job. How do you do it, Jay? How do you keep yourself sane?
So I want to say that I'm one of many in a cog that make this organization function, right? This organization was started out by my dear friend Linda Schiller back in 2004, and she worked in Elizabeth, and she had like an administrative job, and she would look out the window and see stray dogs running around, and she had a bigger heart than anybody that I have ever encountered. So she would go on a lunch hour and her coffee break, and she would feed these dogs, and she would earn their trust, and at some point they would trust her enough where they would come up to her and she would put a slip lead on them, bring them home, get them vetted, and then get them adopted. So Linda had started this out in her home, and then remarkably it just grew and grew and grew, and with the need for animal rescue, she put this rescue together, and today it's unbelievable how many people we have and the type of people that we attract, and it's really humbling.
How many people do you got working down there?
I would say, as from a volunteer standpoint, we probably have over 200. But we have fosters. We do have a small staff. We need a small staff to help us keep the kennel running. There need to be a staff to clean, feed, and care for the animals, like vet techs, right? Things of that nature. So we do have a small staff, but we are a 501c3 and a nonprofit.
Okay.
So
if people wanted to help you out, and we'll probably talk about this again, but what's the best way for people to, first of all, help adopt these dogs is a big deal, but also donate to you guys? What is that?
Yeah. So if you go on our website, www.ehrdogs.org, we have a tab for donate. And we accept obviously monetary donations, but we have an Amazon wish list. We have things like cleaning supplies, blankets, dog beds, dog toys, food, anything that can help us keep this rescue running and trying to save animals. We really rely on our donations and our volunteers to keep us running. So there's a couple different ways you can help. You could donate, or you can volunteer your time. And it could be anything. It could be walking dogs, helping with vetting, helping with intakes, helping with applications, processing applications, helping with dog adoption events. We even have a thrift store. We have so many different ways that you can help, but all walks of life we rely on. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have construction workers, we have college students. Mostly it's just people driven by the goal of rescuing and helping these animals in need.
Yeah. So that's a great point. I mean, everybody, so what's the success rate, let's say, with getting dogs into homes? Is it pretty good? And do you yourself have a few dogs?
I have two. In fact, one of the dogs that I have is very special to my heart. It's one of Linda Schiller's dogs. So before she ended up passing away, she knew that her dogs, we made sure all of her dogs were going to great homes. And so I have Rose, which is one of the pit bull terriers, one of her treasured dogs. So she's a real gift to me and my family. So to date, from the 2004 inception of 11th Hour, we've probably adopted over 42,000 rescue animals.
Wow.
So to the great, I mean, really, this is like going out to all the wonderful people that have helped make that happen. I'm one person on the executive committee who does what I do, but there are so many more people. Kelly Miller is our current president. Linda Schiller handed over the rescue to Kelly Miller, who is doing a phenomenal job running it. And I think Linda would be proud.
So is this a concept that has spread nationwide? Are there organizations in everybody's neighborhood everywhere that?
I'm not sure. I know that in New Jersey we have quite a few animal rescues, and we try to, like I myself have gone into schools to talk about animal rescue, to talk about pit bull advocacy, to talk about service animals, therapy animals. I myself, in my house, we have a therapy dog who was instrumental in helping my son, who had oppositional defiance disorder. You know, he did what only a dog could do. It's just amazing. So we try to educate the public with how important spay and neuter is, how important it is to not take on a dog if you don't understand the true responsibility.
Yeah.
And we see that every day. So we adopt from mostly the southern states, like let's say Georgia, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina, Texas. They tend to be. We even adopt from Kosovo and Puerto Rico. We tend to go where the need is, and there it's just there's no spay and neuter going on, or very little, and they're overrun by dogs who need something, and the shelters and pounds get overwhelmed. And unfortunately, the way it works is, I guess they bring them in and they try to adopt them out, but if they don't go, then they get euthanized.
Yeah.
So the way that we came up with the name, Linda Schiller came up with the name, is that at the 11th hour, right before they're put down, you know, we like to think that we go in there and we scoop them up and we give them a life and a future.
Give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
So is there a marketing budget or something that, what is the driving force between trying to get them into new homes? What would be the perfect way for you to get these dogs 100% of the time into a new place? Is it a marketing thing? Is it what is it?
It's a combination of things, but we have a volunteer named Lisa who heads up our marketing committee. And really, we have a website. We're listed on Pet Finder. Our dogs are listed on Pet Finder. We have a website where you can see all of our adoptable dogs and their stories. And you can also come to our adoption events. So we have 11th Hour has a adoption center for cats at the Rockaway Mall. We have an adoption center that runs on the weekends at the Roxbury Mall. And then we have our kennel where we're by appointment only. So there's so many different ways. We go to events, car rallies, churches. Whoever wants to have us there, we go. And we bring our adoptable dogs. And honestly, I mean, it's been really great. It's been really wonderful.
Do you think there's some look in some people's eyes where they get blindsided by these animals that just happen to be at these places, and they say, I never knew that I wanted a dog until you kind of were here and you brought me one, and now
There might be something to that. There might be some truth to that. I do see a lot of times where people won't expect or won't prepare to go rescue a dog, and then they show up at one of our adoption events or adoption centers, and it's not like you can walk in from the street and just say, I want that one, and then walk away. There's a process to it. So what I would say to all potential adopters is go, visit our website, fill out an application. And this is with really any rescue. Fill out the application, get approved first before you fall in love with the dog, because the chance of you walking away with the dog prior to getting approved, the approval might take a week. And then by that time, the dog is gone and you're heartbroken. Or the cat. Sorry. So we keep saying dogs, but this dogs, cats. We even have some bunnies, chinchillas, guinea pigs. So any animal really from the household, we try to rescue.
You're obviously talking to two dog people right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to limit it to dogs because cats are a big part of what we do, and we have a huge population of people who love cats as well.
Of course. And cats are wonderful, wonderful, independent, very sassy creatures. We love all animals.
Yeah, I feel there's you have your people who are looking for both, and then you have your dog lovers and you have your cat lovers, and we just welcome them all.
Yeah. They come in all shapes and sizes. So I got to ask you, what was your introduction in your personal life to understanding that animals, hey, they're pretty interesting, they're pretty cool, they're good friends?
Look, I growing up, I always had animals in the house, always had dogs, cats, fish, whatever it was. And I always felt pure love, pure honesty, pure affection, pure faithfulness. Dogs in my life have taught me more than any human will. So it's kind of hard to remain passionate about human beings when you're working with animals, because they're just so true to form. They're how I think if we acted more like animals, maybe the world would be a better place.
God, that's a philosophy right there. They're getting pretty deep. Well, I'll say this. Mark Twain famously said, the more I learn about people, the more I like my dog.
I love that. I love it. And a lot of our friends, have signs hanging in their homes that say, if you don't want dog hair on your clothes, don't come to my house. The dog lives here. You're a guest. Sort of things like that. But
yeah, sure.
The people that I work with here, the people who devote their time, their energy into, and we have dogs at the kennel that have been there for a year or two, and we have walk schedules. We have activity schedules. We just bought a facility in Flanders, New Jersey, and we just put in play yard fences. So now we have play yards, and we have what's wonderful, like the community outreach. We have Boy Scouts or Scouts of America coming in with Eagle Scout projects, and they're helping us with poop stations and tribute gardens and benches for meet and greets. They've been wonderful. So sort of some of the things that I do with facilities is meet with these folks, and we conceptualize or plan out a project, and they raise the money, they help us with it, and at the end of the day, they can be proud of what they did, and we end up with some sort of an enhancement to our property and our program.
And for all you millionaires out there, this is a great way for you to get a tax break. Donate a bunch of money to 11th Hour. We got a guy, he does construction on the side, like his main job. So that place is going to be awesome, modern. The dogs are going to have a good life. Yeah, do it. I don't know how many millionaires watching, but
I don't know. I mean, one of our biggest expenses, obviously, is we now hold a mortgage. It's a pretty good sized mortgage, and medical bills. So most of the cats and dogs that we rescue from these high kill states, Some could be running loose, homeless, feral, so we have to take them in, bring them up to health, and we do an intake for every animal that we take in. There's a period of time where they have to come in, they have to wait, they have to get vetted, all their shots, dewormed, rabies, whatever the vet techs decide. We do a full inspection, and that's another thing is that we try to disclose everything we know about the animal to the potential adopters so that we can increase the success rate of homing the animal. Because if we're not 100% forthcoming and we don't tell them about maybe some personality issues or some behavioral issues that the animal has, they might get them home and say, what did I do? I need to return this animal.
Sure.
So we try to give them as much of the knowledge that we have on the animal, even though sometimes it's very little. Sometimes it's, we trap these dogs that are running loose, and we get them and we bring them back, and we try to show them love, and usually it works. Sometimes the animals just want to have a good life, want to be on their own, and those are the cases where we look sometimes for sanctuaries. But every animal that we have is cared for, loved, and more or less happy.
Have you had some repeat customers come in and say, you know what, that last rescue was great, give me another one?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you adopt a puppy or a kitten from a rescue, it's like you're going to a pet store and getting a pet and you're starting from scratch. What people don't realize about rescues, and dogs or cats or any animals, right, is they're being rescued from some sort of negative, or it could be a negative environment, could be that they were abused, it could be that they were homeless, it could be that, and some of the saddest things that I've seen is dogs or cats being surrendered to our rescue because of, let's say, a divorce, and they're forced to move, and they're not moving into a place that will allow pets. And so they take a dog or a cat that's been in that home for 6 years or so, and they just show up at our doorstep and say, take care of our dog or a cat.
Let me tell you, I got very, very strong words for the type of people that are mildly inconvenienced and need to abandon their pets, whether it's a freaking hurricane or it's moving, a divorce. I broke up with my boyfriend and then I just got rid of the dog. That's unacceptable.
And listen, I understand that life happens, and I understand that there are some times where these people just can't cope with what's going on. Me personally, I would live in my car in a parking lot, in a Walmart parking lot, and I would be that person trying to make it happen until I find something. Yep. But my dog is that important to me.
Yep. And I'm right there with you because I actually lived on the road with a dog in that very scenario, mostly by choice in youth, but still the dog became just like a spiritual leader in some way, where I was like, okay, whatever you want to do, I just do what you do. And the dog didn't care. The dog was just happy to be fed and to go for walks and to have a good life. Didn't understand bills or anything like this, or
they're just pure love. I mean, I just find that they're just true. They're innocent. And even the ones that cause trouble, the ones that, look, there are some dogs that need jobs, right? I've learned a lot about working with dogs. Some dogs have a prey drive. Some dogs feel like they need a job. And if they don't have that job, or if they don't have that exercise, they act out. They chew things up. And it could be furniture, it could be shoes or purses, it could be anything. So, there are certain types of dogs that really need a big backyard. There's certain dogs that'll do okay in an apartment. And those are the types of things that we try to facilitate when we adopt out animals.
Yeah. George Carlin famously said, you know why chickens are good people is because they don't have that ability to, hook a guy's nuts up to some car batteries and torture him for hours, or institutionalize prisons, or, chickens are decent people,
Yeah.
They don't know. And it's the innocence. You touched on that the innocence of animals is what makes them worth looking at from a philosophical point of view and say, hey, look at what they do and tell me if they're living their fullest life, eating, fornicating, sleeping. Seems pretty reasonable while we all are striving to have that more simpler existence, trying to simplify our lives. But human life is very complicated. Yeah. So I want
to... animals can grieve. Animals can be sad. I've seen animals being separated from their family, and it makes me want to cry every time it happens. It's hard not to. And so, as much as this is an uplifting activity in my life, it's also really painstaking sometimes when I see. Sometimes you see hoarding situations. Sometimes you see a dog being brought to us because their owner died and there's no one to take care of the dog. So the dog is coming to us, or the cat, or, coming to us, and it is grieving. Don't think that the animals don't grieve. They grieve. So it's just our job to sense that and to just love them and, try to get them a home as fast as possible. And so in those cases, we treat them a little bit differently. In those cases, we don't put them in the kennel. We try to get a foster who will put them back in a home as quickly as possible, so that A, they'll be socialized with animals, and B, they'll have a better chance of getting into their own home sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody out there, pay attention, go to the website, see how you can be a part of this, because, for everybody that's watching, they're probably animal people and they understand the brevity of this kind of system that we're in. And it's a sad fact that dogs cannot exist in the world by themselves. Wildlife can. An owl, a squirrel, even a wolf to some degree has rights to be in the forest or in the woods and stuff like this. But a dog isn't really equipped to survive on its own all the way. Sometimes maybe, but that we're talking about eating out of trash cans. The dogs I've seen in Mexico and stuff, it's like, this is not a natural life. But in modern Western society, we need to either adopt them and have them as pets, or they're going to be euthanized. That's it. And we need to learn how to take care of them really, really well,
Linda Schiller's, her philosophy or her mission statement was to continue to save animals until the last cage is empty, until the last crate is empty, until the job is no longer needed. And she left this earth knowing that she left it in some pretty good hands, and we're really trying to make her proud. So
how long had she done that?
2004 she started, so
almost 20 years.
Yeah, almost 20 years. And I mean, her whole life was devoted to it. So, and she built an empire of people. She built a system and an empire of people who had like philosophies and like visions, and she built it from nothing. And now we have a really nice facility in Flanders. We have something called Building Hope, which is a fundraising button on our website to kind of give to the building, raise money for the building, which is helping us house probably right now about 50 dogs. So, again, in our system, we probably have, I would say, over 100 to 150 animals that are either in foster or at one of our shelters or system.
And so let me ask you this. If people had commitment issues and they wanted to just come down and see a dog or take him for a walk, is that possible at your place?
Well, again, to take a dog for a walk, you'd probably have to sign up as a volunteer, go through animal handling. We do handling training. We do safety training. And because, you can't just, some of these dogs have a past, right? And so some of these dogs have trust issues.
Okay.
So you have to work your way to that. But we have some easy dogs, and we have some dogs that maybe have some trust issues, and it would take a little bit longer for you to gain their trust. But once you do, look out. There's just, I have dogs that this weekend I'm going to see a dog in 160 miles away that we adopted out as an organization probably 6-7 years ago, and I'm still visiting the dog because the bond is just so, you spend enough time with these animals and you can't be without them.
160 miles to go see a dog to just say hi.
Yeah, for a 1 or 2 hour visit.
Well, you're a modern day, what I would call a hero, Jay.
Nah. Just doing my part, right? Trying to get a check mark, right?
Yeah.
What it really is that I'm bringing up 2 children that are kind of involved in the rescue, and I'm hoping that after I'm gone, the legacy will continue, and that's what Linda wanted. She wanted to build a legacy. She wanted to build a future for all these animals, and I feel like the more we do as human beings, the more we do to teach about, to educate people about breeds, about rescue, about the needs, the better we'll be in the future to come.
So this all stems from the idea of empathy. Like you're saying you want to teach empathy to your children as a thing. Do you think some people maybe don't see the world in that way? Like with the world the way it is, do you think that it's necessary to teach kids empathy? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, I guess.
Listen, there's a lot of kids today. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, and I was outside playing every day. I was never in front of a computer screen, and I'm not mocking it.
Sure.
There's a different way of socializing today. Jobs are more technical. Everything is technology based, but I'd like to think, like with my kids, that there's a balance, right? And I'd like to think that, if you teach your kids a little bit about what else is out there, you could kind of do some good out there. So, like I said, my son has a dog, Maximus, who really helped him growing up, was instrumental in his life. So I can't speak enough about the importance of having a good dog or a good cat in the house that can absorb some of the stresses, some of the anxieties, some of the troubles that our youth go through today. And that dog or cat will be there day in, day out, anytime. Fact.
The best medicine for a troubled mind.
Absolutely. I 100% believe that. And I hope to be buried with the ashes of all my pets,
Yeah.
No,
if my dog goes, we're going together. We're all driving Thelma and Louise style off a cliff.
I love it. I love it.
There's no point. Just, I don't want to see it. Let's go. Yeah. Well, thanks for being on my radically crazy, insane podcast. We have all kinds of crazy people on it, but you, my friend, have the heart as great as all outdoors.
I appreciate you having us. And again, we really can't do what we do without the hearts and the caring nature of the people out there. So, like we've during this conversation we've made kind of calls that like the world is troubled and this and that. But I can tell you right now, there is a lot of good people out there, and I feel as if they focus on some good things rather than the bad. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I started this, was to be able to gather the people with like-minded, empathetic, and at the top of their class, we've got some PhDs. We got some really cool people on both sides of the aisle, nature and technology. And I'll take anybody, but empathy is key, and so you fit right in here.
I appreciate it, and thanks for everything you do too. I mean, you're bringing to light, to the public some pretty important topics, and I feel like good reporting is something that I haven't seen in a while.
It doesn't exist. It's called corporate interests, and news is just not telling us anything useful anymore.
Yeah, I tell my kids, think critically, see what you're actually experiencing. Don't believe somebody because they say something. Feel it, believe it, see it, and then go out and learn. And then make your decision based on what you learn. So
don't take somebody else's word for it. That's the mistake we always make.
Yeah. So again, our website is www.ehrdogs.org, and we are in need of volunteers. We are always in need of supplies, and obviously, we're never going to turn our backs to monetary donations. So
come on, people, get the money together, get down there, and the links there'll be some links down below. Just come on, they're puppies, doggies, little baby kitties.
Yeah, we have them all. I mean, so again, I really appreciate the time and what you do.
And thank you for coming on, because I know that your predecessor would want you to have continued on with the PR. So.
She's really missed, but we do this. We do this, and the current president does this because we're trying to continue what she started, and that's what she would have wanted. So,
all right, that's Jay. Jay from 11th Hour. Wave goodbye to everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.